Hey there, this is Sebastian from MateBase, and today we're going to be looking at the basics of writing and then using a function in App Builder. Cool, so here I am inside an App Builder workspace, and essentially, you can use a function to write and then use any JavaScript inside your application, right? So here's just a basic example. Let's say that I want to present a date time, right, that has a specific type of formatting, right? Of course, I could always do that within the notation brackets of an input. However, that could just get a little bit messy inside the input, and maybe I want to use it at different parts across my application or different places in my application. So better that I actually use a function to encapsulate that code and then reference that function. So here I did a basic search where I said, okay, well, how do you get the current date and time in JavaScript? And we can see that on the Stack Overflow post, give some answers, and I'm going to just take this code and then use that, right? So first off, if I open my inspector, I can just run it, see what I get back. And I can see that it gives me this date time of last sync and the current date and current time. And that's, let's just say that that's perfect. It's exactly what we wanted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to App Builder now, open up the functions, and I'm going to create a global function and paste that code inside the function body. And then two is that I am going to return the date time here. So I don't need to set it as a variable. Right? Now, the return type is going to be a string, so let's make sure that we set it as a string. If it was an array, we'd set it as a list. And then in this case, we're taking no arguments, right? But we'll do an argument example in just a minute. So now I'm going to call this date time string, or date time, right? Yeah, let's just call it date time string. Awesome. And I'm going to save it. Oh, 1 second. Some issue with the line breaks. Okay. So I'm going to go through here and just put it all in one line. Maybe it likes that better. Cool. Now we have our function created. So if I go into my state and I go down to functions, I can see that that datetime stream function is now here. And let's say that I wanted to run it and show it in my header, right? Or actually, let's just show it on the page. So I'm going to go get a text component, and I'm going to put the text component there. Just give it a little bit of padding or a margin, excuse me, so that let's apply that to all so that it makes it look a little prettier. Cool. And now inside the properties of this text, I'm going to actually invoke that function, and so that it gives that value as the text input. And so here what we're going to say is addition, and that's the reference to state, right? However, we then need to say function, and that's the reference to the actual function itself. And then we're going to execute that, and the reason that is just being put as a string is because I didn't put it in an expression. So double brackets, and let's see, addition is not defined. All right, let's try. Oh, no wonder it's not called addition. Sorry, in a previous example I was working on, it was called addition. So now I'm going to just go back to text. I'm going to pop that in there. Cool, datetime string, and now I'm going to say function. Call it, and now that function's executing and returning the string, which is displaying on our screen. Perfect, right? However, let's say that we did want to supply some type of argument to this function, right? And so in this case, let's say that this prefix last sync, we want to change that across pages, right? We probably want to change more of the function, but let's just use this as a basic example. So I'm going to go back to the function. I'm going to open it up. And we're going to get an argument here called prefix, which is what we are going to actually add here, right? And remember, you can do whatever you want with JavaScript inside this function, but essentially we're just taking an argument and prefixing it to the date time, which we are creating. And so here now I'm going to have to say, or I'm going to say that I have an argument, which is called prefix, and it is a string, which is it's expecting. And so now when I save that, cool, that's saved. Now if I go back to my page, we can see that it is getting a non-value. And so what we're going to do now is update this to where we're going to say, oh, well, our prefix is going to be current date time, right? And we'll have a space there. Cool, so now that's being updated. And if I wanted to use this same function across my application or in different areas, whatever is that string value or that prefix I'm supplying it, would obviously be different across those different uses. So I hope that this video was helpful in showing you how you can create a JavaScript function and then use it inside your application, as well as some of the little things like how you supply an argument to a function, specify a return type, so on and so forth. There's a lot more that you can do with functions. You could write entire modules. You could write JavaScript classes, which then you use. It really is an open editor for you to leverage the power of JavaScript inside your application. However, this is a good introduction to them. And then in future videos, we can go over more complex use cases. So, hope you found this helpful. If you want to receive updates on future videos, please hit the subscribe button and look forward to seeing you in future episodes. Happy developing.